being one of them. All right, let's dive right in, shall we? We got so much to talk about, guys. Hey, first, it's a little rainy out there. You might need something to do. I got something for you. Bring your automobile into Stan's Auto. Get a quick oil change. Get a quick tire change. They sell tires. They can do anything between those bumpers. Stan's Auto for all your automobile needs here in Lafayette, Louisiana, right by Reds, and in New Iberia off of Admiral Doyle. Gotta love that. Man, we didn't plan this topic when you came in, but that's the best ones. But I am so excited. So we're going to talk about health care. It just happened to have him in. More so universal health care probably on this topic more than anything. So Michigan's Democratic Senate nominee, Abdul Al-Said. Do you have a yard sign for Mr. Said? Yeah. You have a...
It's upside down.
Oh, okay. We can put them right by those rose bushes by your office, right to welcome everybody.
Shooting range in the back. No,
yeah, okay. I've had some people.
I know. I've seen him. I've seen him at the range.
That's what I was talking about. All right, so, he's the Mr. Abdul Al-Said. He's the Michigan's Democratic Senate nominee, and he said something that I actually do appreciate. He said the truth. He told people what's going to happen if we get what he wants. And now Mr. El-Said supports Medicare for all. That's his thing. But he ain't lying about it. He acknowledged it, under his plan that Americans would pay more in taxes. Well, I never understood that, why they would even say that, because they have no problem with just deficit spending. Mm-hmm. Like, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. They have no problem with deficit spending, so why would they even threaten that? Like, we'll just press a button. Like, $2 trillion deficit, $3 trillion, $4 trillion. Who cares? Who cares? The aliens are going to come out of the White House and tell us how to figure this out with Bitcoin anyway. So, but he at least acknowledged it, and that I appreciate. Now, his argument is pretty simple. It's the typical far left talking point on this. Right now, you send a big chunk of your paycheck to Washington. All of us do, and it's all relative. Okay, whatever. Whether you're big money or small money, you're sending something that's hitting you to Washington. But under his plan, you'd send a bigger chunk, and this would be to pay, what he said, you'd pay a bigger chunk. But right now, he's saying you already send a big chunk of your paycheck. You already pay for health care. You send it to your big health insurance company. And under his plan, you would just send more money to the federal government instead.
Because they run everything great over there.
From the folks that have run how many wars on whatever have we listed domestically? War on crime, war on drugs, war on it. Anytime you hear anytime you hear any of that stuff. Yeah, exactly. From the folks that are having to debate on whether we're going to pay for Social Security, we want them running health care. But he says, look, there are a lot of people that say this. There are a lot of people that say, I'd rather trust the politician, the person that I elect, as opposed to the the insurance company, because I don't elect those guys, and they're there just to make a bottom line profit. And the government's there, I can reelect those guys, or I can kick them out. Yeah, how's that going? Pelosi's been there how long?
Right.
Yeah, without term. I'll tell you this. I'm not saying I'm subscribed to this because I don't, but you may have an argument if that's your theory, like, well, I trust me in the ballot box, and I can go in there and I can kick him out. That may have some merit if there were term limits, because then you could say, well, because all you have to do is spend money, and you can make something look like it's not. I mean, how many politicians have have run entire campaigns on a lie? Mm-hmm. I know of one.
Yeah. Maybe one.
Maybe one. Maybe one. Maybe two. Maybe two. Maybe two. Maybe three. I don't know. So, anywho, I appreciate Mr. Al-Said saying the truth there, and it's bigger. Like, the debate obviously is bigger than healthcare. I mean, but nothing is free.
Right.
There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. If you go to McDonald's in the drive-through. You can't just pick up your quarter pounder. You love this analogy, don't you?
Right. Yeah.
Dr. Kevin from Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic, he's like, can you use a better analogy?
Yeah. And so I would propose something that's completely the opposite of all of that.
Okay.
And let everyone just pay for their own medical care.
Ooh.
And don't send your money to anywhere.
Health insurance or anything.
Go to your doctor, have him do what he needs to do, charge you a reasonable price, and pay for your services. People are going to be motivated to be healthier. They're going to be able to shop around for a doctor that provides good care for a reasonable price. The price of everything. We've had shows on this before.
Oh, yes, we have.
Yeah.
Well, and I love how you position it with your practice, and you're kind of, this is how you run it, and it's a model that obviously works for everybody.
Right.
For everybody.
Right. When my patients come in, I don't have to answer, or I don't work for Blue Cross or Blue Shield or Humana or Medicare. I work for them, and my job is to do a good job for them.
That's
because
right.
I work for them. I don't work for Blue Cross, right? And so that is a huge difference, even from the doctor side of things, when you can do what's best for your patient based on what they can afford and what's best for them in their situation. And you don't have to wait 6 months to get paid 10 cents on a dollar and have to pay two people to fight for that, 10 cents on a dollar for 6 months to try to collect it. It's a nightmare.
So you really only need insurance then maybe for like big items like
Big
surgery
items.
and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
But see, if we went, because we could go to we could go to the model you just said, basically cash payment.
Right.
All right. And a whole bunch of things would lower if you're disciplined, you put money aside, all that stuff, health savings accounts. You got a whole bunch of things,
Right.
Yeah.
But
right now, unless you know of different, I don't think you can just get like surgery insurance. Maybe you can, like high catastrophic insurance or something like that.
Yeah. I had that for a while, and I had a $6,000 deductible. It was still $1,000 a month. Just
But
for me.
you go do all these adventurous stuff that
Yeah.
puts your body in harm's way.
This is true.
I'm talking about us regular. My point on that was it's a pool. So, here's the deal. I'm not here to defend insurance companies. I dang sure ain't here to defend the federal government.
Saeed.
Yeah, Mr. Al Saeed. I am definitely not subscribing to universal health care doesn't work. But we definitely want to I think we can revamp our healthcare industry.
Mm-hmm.
Doc, I've said it on this show a lot of times, and I do truly believe this. In America, we're asking the wrong question. We always, even Mr. Al Saeed, he's saying, who's paying for it? We ask the question, well, who's going to pay for it? Well, who's going to pay for it? And instead of asking the real question, why does it cost so much?
Yes.
Why does let's say on prescriptions, why does the same molecular breakdown cost 18 times more in the United States than it does, outside of a village? I use your analogy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although that guy's doing pretty good, health-wise.
Right.
It's why. Why do things cost so much more here? Well, we've allowed it happen. For us to go to what Dr. Kevin was just saying, that's common sense, but that's you're changing an aircraft carrier's direction. So that's to do that. Where's John Gilbo on all my where's Albert Guillory, my sailors? I think it takes 2 miles to do a 180 on a moving aircraft carrier. I think. So if we look at this healthcare industry like that, and we start asking the right questions, and we start acting on the information based on those right questions, it will take a hot minute to get there. But can we all agree that we can't keep doing the same thing? We can't continue to do this.
No.
So, Doc, when we get back, we'll continue this conversation. There's so many things happening in America and the world out there. Park, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, man. If you want to drive in luxury and you want to have that great, just hometown feel, go to Giles Volvo right here in Lafayette, Louisiana, man. We talked about Giles Volvo a lot on Friday, and I just want to remind you again, Giles Volvo right here in Lafayette. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, we didn't even know we had a Volvo in Lafayette. I'm like, yes, go. And Giles Volvo. So thanks for tuning into the show. Now you know. Go over there, Giles Volvo, right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. And, of course, you get the Giles Automotive touch. You get the maintenance and the team and the service that goes with it. Go visit Giles Volvo here in Lafayette. Tell him me and Dr. Kevin and Parker said hello. Fair enough, Doc? Can I throw you in there? Good deal. All right. Oh, by the way, Bob Giles, he has an adventurous life just like you.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He swims with sharks and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to get tired of me saying that on the radio, I'm sure of it. He's like, it's more to me than sharks, Josh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm getting over the fact that you swim with sharks voluntarily. Like, you see him and you jump in. I don't understand it. That's beyond my approach.
Yeah, as many adventurous things as I've done in my life, I always feel like if I'm in the ocean, I'm like in their world, so it's kind of different.
Yeah, right. You got to respect the when in Rome.
Yeah, I would much rather be in the mountains facing a grizzly than in the ocean facing a shark.
So you don't think the grizzly owns that territory?
I've been around. I've been in the mountains elk hunting with some grizzlies around, and I'd pick that over sharks any day.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Do you think you can't move as fast in the water?
I don't know.
Yeah, you just think you have a little bit more advantage.
Yeah.
In that element.
Right.
Man, I don't know. Them grizzly bears, they can climb trees and everything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mess with them.
We were elk hunting once in Montana, and we had a grizzly that kind of lived where we were, and it was kind of a mutual respect thing. Like, he would look at you and you would look at him, and he would like, I know you could shoot me, but you know I could eat you, so I'm going to go this way, you go that way. And it was all good.
And we're
all
good.
Cool. Yeah, it was good.
You have an understanding when you're in the elements.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's nature. You stand there, it's I get all of my survival tips, of course, from Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
I am my skill level, if you watch that show, it went from like a 4.1 to 4.1.0008 just by watching season 2.
Uh-huh.
I'm
One of my friends asked me one time if they thought I could do that show, and I said, not the bugs, man. The mosquito bites. Like, I could do the whole show minus the mosquitoes.
Okay, I've often wondered this, like, which is it has to be the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
All right, so what item would you bring? You can bring one item on Naked and Afraid, and the challenges are with 2 people, and it's always male, female, 21 days. If it's 40-day challenge, it's co-ed, and you have a group.
Mm-hmm.
So very interesting. But you can bring one item. Everyone, if it's so bad, I saw some episodes where they were able to bring 2, but I think that was the amateurs that were trying to be on. Yeah, that was what it is. Regardless, one item, what would you bring?
Fire starter.
Question. Sometimes they get the fire starter.
Yeah.
So obviously, if I have nothing, I'm going with fire starter.
Right.
All right, assuming they provide the flint and whatever, the fire starter, what are you bringing?
Knife.
Yeah. See, it's a
Big
debate.
Knife. Yeah, big knife.
I saw somebody with a mosquito net one time. And no joke. Now, if it was just for the mosquitoes, I'd be like, well, you have to tough it out.
Yeah.
But it was a female. She used it for fishing.
I did see that one.
And I was like, well, that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Because you can just pull that out, and then you got fire. You can boil it, whatever. We know about that. You boil anything in Louisiana.
Speaking of fish nets, I saw a news article where I think it was the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation gave fish nets in Africa. Like, they gave tens of thousands.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not fish nets, mosquito nets.
All right.
And they had used them to start fishing with, and they got all the fish out of the river, and now they're starving.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember the details. It was something like that, but they gave out mosquito nets in Africa, in Central Africa, to all these villages, and they figured out they could use them to catch a bunch of fish, and they tied them together or something. Yeah, it was very interesting. So now there's no fish.
Man, okay, so that is bizarre. All right, so I want to go back to Bill Gates if we have time. I know upcoming on Wednesday, I think you want to talk about something that might bring him up, or maybe in the next couple of weeks we could talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'd like to go on this artificial meat and food production that we're starting to see with new technology. It's not necessarily new; it's newer for sure in the whole history of technology, of course. But let's go back to this healthcare industry, and specifically the question, because everybody's hit with taxes, everybody's hit with a whole bunch of stuff with life, and health insurance is not cheap. Healthcare costs is not cheap. When you pay out of pocket, it's not cheap. It's hard. But again, in this country, we always ask the question, well, who's going to pay for it? And I just really wish we start asking, why does it pay so much? Or why does it cost so much? Doc, we were talking about in the break, piggybacking on what you were saying about, well, one option is you can just pay cash and not be beholden to any insurance company telling you what the doctor can prescribe or what formulary coverage is there. And some non-trained healthcare provider in some cubicle only watching numbers is making healthcare decisions. So that model's not terribly great. Well, you flip that, and then you get the government involved. Well, like you said, what has the government done? First of all, where is healthcare in the Constitution? It's nowhere.
Right.
So therefore, it's not a federal issue. Then it goes to the state. Okay. Now, I guess you could say it's a federal issue if you use the taxing clause, like Mr. Al Saeed has openly said. Hey, at least he's honest about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then you could argue interstate commerce, which is the absolute right way to argue it, or Article 1, Section 8 of our Constitution. So you have that. But regardless, it's the government. I don't care if it's your local homeowners association to the federal government. Who makes a better healthcare choice for you than you? I mean, if you're able-minded and body, of course, you know what I mean? You're the best person. You should make that choice. Now, to get to Dr. Kevin's approach or his suggestion, one solution, I love how you bring solutions, recommended solutions at least. One approach is just this whole cash paying thing. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense. Doc, how would we get there, though?
Well, I realize there are some holes in that, like if someone gets a major cancer or they need a heart transplant, of course, that's going to be more expensive than what the average person could afford, and that would be something that would have to be figured out. But I think one really good thing would be to start, when you're born, start a health savings account for every baby. And, the government could put a few bucks in there. The parents could put a few bucks in there and just let it build. And then, the majority of healthcare costs start, of course, when you get middle age and older for the vast majority of people. And you could just let that build throughout their life. And if they need to go to the doctor, you could pull some out of there. A doctor's visit might be $30-$40, something like that. I mean, now it's, $300 because the doctor knows he's got to wait 6 months and get paid $30.
Yeah, it's amazing the difference between, again, look, the doctors, they're in the system too. They're fighting this system just like the patient is.
Right.
Just in a different battle. I have had so many conversations with physicians about wanting to write prescriptions or do a treatment path, and they have to fail so many times on the medication of choice that on the non-medications of choice that the insurance companies tell them they have to do first before they actually get to the medication that the doctor wants. And I remember many moons ago being in selling, I was a pharmaceutical rep. Doc, I sold drugs during the day and studied law at night. It was a great combination. It helped me with my street cred, okay? But but regardless, I don't even know where I was going with that. But I threw myself off. Anyway, we're going to take us a break. But when we get back, though, I know where we're at. I just see the time. We're going to take us a little break. We will pick up this conversation when we get back. I got more jokes. All right, guys, stick around. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go to rumble.com. Go check us out at Rumble. Look up the Josh Guillory Show. Shout out to our KLFY Plus viewing audience. I got my buddy, Dr. Kevin, in the house today. And by the way, go visit my friend over there, Dr. Kevin, at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic, 983-CARE. 983-CARE here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Doc, y'all been busy?
Been busy.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
When you're good, you get busy.
That's right. Making it happen.
And your whole staff, I tell you this all the time, it's just like at home. They treat you nice. They're patient. They're patient with their patients.
Yeah.
Put up with our questions.
I got to tell you, I have the best team in healthcare, man. Those girls are just great.
They're all pretty knowledgeable, too. Do y'all have like a training session or something, or they just pick it up? Oh, do they?
They're in constant training.
Oh, my God. I could tell. It's like even, it doesn't matter what position, receptionist to the folks in the back. It's that's good. Good training over there. Good leadership. Hey, I finally remembered my thought there, okay, in the last break. So I was in neuroscience, selling pharmaceutical rep, all that good stuff. And I remember a lot of physicians, and maybe this has changed, but at the time, they were so frustrated because they would say, you got to go in hard, you got to go in strong. That's at least my experience with these folks. And they'd get frustrated when the formulary or the insurance company would say, no, you got to walk it in and gradually do this. And apparently that was a different type of treating path. Now, I don't know if that's accurate medically or not. I'll let all the medical doctors and then the folks trained in healthcare to figure that out, not me. I'm some dumb lawyer. But Doc, that's that's kind of, if I were in you're not in that position because you don't answer the insurance companies, but there's a lot of folks in healthcare that do. That would be so aggravating.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example of how that happens. So this is one of the things that makes healthcare so expensive, and it's really the insurance company's fault. So let's say you're talking to your doctor, and you have a little mild disc herniation, and he wants to go in and just trim that disc to try to relieve pressure off of the nerve. So he knows you need an MRI, and he knows you need the surgery. But because you have insurance, you have to have x-rays before you can get an MRI, even though x-rays don't show discs. But in order to qualify for an MRI, you have to do x-rays. So you go get your x-rays, he looks at them knowing they're not going to show anything, and then he orders the MRI. And the MRI showed exactly what he expected and what you agreed upon. You need to trim that disc. Well, in order to approve the surgery, you got to do 8 to 12 weeks of physical therapy.
What the heck?
Before you can even qualify for that surgery. So you ended up with half of that care, not what the doctor wanted to do and not what the patient wanted to do, even though, look, physical therapy is great. Don't get me wrong. I go to one. I'm just saying for that particular case, it wasn't what that patient needed. But to qualify for the surgery, you had to go jump through all of these steps just to get the insurance to pay for it. It delays care. It clogs up the system. And this goes on every day with so many different procedures where instead of going into your doctor, it's you and him making the decision, hey, I think you need an MRI and I need to go in and trim that. Here's how much I can charge you. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
and so it's
bureaucracy.
It's a bureaucracy.
And who thinks that if we go from one bureaucracy to the federal government's bureaucracy, that's going to be better or worse?
Right.
Come on now. These and to the notion of, because I was trying to get both sides there. Well, some people say, well, I'd rather the elected officials make those decisions because I can get rid of them. That's a fair concept, but look how big the operation is. The elected officials aren't the ones that are in the panels making decisions on what's covered. They're just not. They give the framework. They get, it's like a parish president. They're not out there just directing what shovel goes where and where, the actual weeds are, in the weeds. You just say, yeah, okay, well, all right, approve it. Let's go. You got a lot of folks that are trained in that to go do the things, good, bad, or ugly. So in this situation, the bureaucracy could help folks. But there's a lot of times, like what Doc was just saying, that's bureaucracy on the insurance side. Well, there's this, we already know that, the bureaucracy on the government side. Doc, we were talking about Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
So what happened here? Now, you were mentioning something. I want to kind of build on that.
Sure. And we all saw him plead the fifth.
Yeah, a couple times.
Okay. Yeah. My favorite was what is the color of the carpet?
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
gosh, yes, yes.
Holly, what is the color of my shirt? I plead the fifth.
And you know,
I was rolling.
oh, a lot of us were. And Joe was when I walked in. He's like, "You got to see this." So I was like, because I had saw it a little later in the day, and man, I know from a legal standpoint, apparently, and I'm many ways to look at this, but if he would have answered one of those questions or two of those questions, then he could have violated his or revoked his right to assert the privileges under the Fifth Amendment. Whether that's true or not, probably just playing it safe. I think a lot of this is a bunch of politics well, obviously it is, and it's sad that we're here in this country, but I think you have to go through it. I think you have to go through the game. I think you have to go through the committee hearings because this man was making so many decisions on behalf of so many people and communicating in such a way that there's questions that need to be answered. And you've already got a blanket pardon. You got a blanket pardon. If you think that pardon's not legally sound, well, okay, I get it. And you also have the Fifth Amendment protection over incriminating yourself on state stuff too. So I get it, but I don't know, man. I'm sensitive, Doc, because I'm a victim of lawfare, so I get it. But I know if I put my constitutional hat on, if I put my American history hat on, love of the country hat on, that's everybody wears, Democrat, Republican, most of us. What we're seeing here in the judiciary and what we're seeing with this abuse of power is not it's not going to be good for our country going forward. Now you got to balance all that with what Fauci actually did, But I don't think these conversations are the healthiest in like these little political committee hearings. I know you got to do it now, so go do it. But I think these conversations could have been had at a better forum at an earlier time. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, and this is coming from a guy who even in 2021, I was going, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, what we're doing makes absolutely no sense as far as the way the human body works. And, keep 6 feet from somebody and wear a mask when many viruses come in through the eyes. And it just, you had people in Walmart with hazmat suits on, and it was just insanity. It was just an insane time in our country. And I think we learned a lot. And, no matter what happens to Fauci and his right to plead the fifth and all that, I'm all for that too. And, my thing with that is let's just don't listen to one person next time, and let's don't shut all these other doctors' voices down and label them as crazy because they have a different opinion than this guy, because now we know this guy had a lot of ulterior motives. I mean, I was sitting in my truck just before the show started. I had about 30 minutes, and I saw a Fox report where in 2021, Fauci had texted 2 of his other coworkers saying that they now have evidence that the COVID shot, especially the second one, can create a cytokine storm and cause miscarriages. And they all 3 agreed to that.
Wow.
But then they went on after that on TV saying that it's safe for pregnancy. They didn't say anything that there could be some evidence that it could cause miscarriages and let the people decide. And I don't understand why. I don't understand unless there was some financial motivation with him that we don't know yet, which would not surprise me at all. But there were so many things now that we have his diary, which is a weird thing for him to do anyway.
What's up with that? And man, I don't want to.
It's weird.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say on that.
It just shows the ego.
Yeah, man.
Where I can do what I want. And I can tell people one thing, knowing another thing, and write it all down, and nobody can do anything to me about it, no matter what. It's kind of what it plays out to me.
A little arrogance.
Yeah, it seems like, yeah. I don't think he has an ego problem. I don't think, for sure.
Oh no, of course not. Of course not. He's he's giving speeches on how to avoid it. Look, we're gonna let's go to the phone lines real quick here. We were gonna take a break, but let's go to a call real quick. 232-1542. Caller, you're live. What you got today?
Is it me?
That's you. What you got, caller?
My goodness, let me roll my windows up real fast.
Thank you.
So I've never called. I've never called you before. I always listen, and
Thank you.
you just struck a nerve.
Talk to me.
You were talking about talking about insurance. Look,
Yeah.
I've had 2 neck surgeries in the last 3 years. I broke my neck twice in 3 years.
Jeez.
And what you said almost crippled me, waiting for insurance companies. And I know this is not where you were going with this, but I think maybe just a little nugget for somebody who out there might be listening.
Yeah.
There's a way to get around that. I don't know if it's appropriate to air on the radio or not, so I'll just say it and let you decide. I know there's a delay button, I'm sure of it.
Go for it. Parker's on it. No, we're listening. This is good.
Right.
And I'm sorry you've had to go through that experience to tell
me
us this,
too.
but yeah, talk to us.
So I went 3 months with C3 fractured and pinching nerves. And I went through X-ray after X-ray and muscle relaxer after muscle relaxer. My doctor finally said, look, we got to get an MRI, but your insurance is not going to approve it. So I looked at him and I smiled. I said, what would happen if I went to the emergency room? He said, why would you go to the emergency room? I said, maybe I've lost control of my bowels. He said, have you? I said, maybe. He said, well, hypothetically, if you go to the emergency room and you tell them that you think you broke your neck and you've lost control of your bowels, they have no choice but to give you an MRI, and insurance has no choice but to pay it because emergencies trump anything. So that's just a little tidbit. That also got me out of physical therapy, by the way.
Hey.
Just a little nugget for whoever is listening. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying to do this. I'm just saying that it might work because it's worked for me twice.
Well, thank you for calling in, and I hope that you have a speedy recovery to all the finalized recovery of your path. All right, that made sense, right? It was English I just said?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
and you know what I would say to him too is you shouldn't have to.
Totally agree. Let's talk about that. Man, that's a good caller. Jerry, stay on hold real quick. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. If you're on hold, give us a call back, 232-1542, 844-766-6607. I got my friend Dr. Kevin from Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic right here. Hey, Doc, I got a pretty cool place in town I want to tell you about.
Okay.
Indoor recreation. All right? That's Jonathan Goodo and all those guys over there. Indoor recreation, right off of Collie Saloon, right off of Rue Louis the 14th. Man, you know all those old school like arcade games and stuff? You go to the movies or the arcade place, you know, when we were little. They got all that cool stuff, all the nostalgia, all that other Pac-Man, all the things.
Oh,
you know?
I got to bring my son over there.
You'll spend money, but you'll do it at a cheap or at a pretty cost-effective way. And by the way, if you want some swag like LSU, UL, or anything like Saints gear, they have some discounts going on before the season. See, Park's eyes lit up. See, he likes sports over there too. Go check them out at Indoor Recreation. But if you want a pool table, a foosball set, those old, like, I'm talking like really nice dartboard type setups, they got a whole bunch of stuff. Indoor Recreation. Go check them out. And by the way, you want to know where your kids are? Build a game room. Mm-hmm. Build it from Indoor Recreation. Go check them out. I'm going to see if you'll get a Big Duck Hunter. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Or Big Buck Hunter, Big Duck Hunter. That's where I used to go practice when I was in the military. That's how I'd become a sharpshooter, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very true. I try to do that at my house. I try to have things around that makes the kids want to stay there.
Absolutely. And, you know, when he started, we're going back to Jonathan, it's bigger than just indoor recreation, of course. But when he started that, 35 years ago, but he's led in with that phrase right around right after 9/11. He said he adapted that. So a couple years after they were open, and he said it just made sense. You want to know where your kids are? We'll build a game room.
Yeah,
like you said, Doc, just build some stuff where you can have them at home, and that's not just indoor recreation. It's just have that. If you know where they're at, well, you know where they're at. You can monitor them. Better to be in front of you. All right. So other than parental advice, do we have any, you got anything else on this healthcare stuff? By the way, phone lines are open, 232-1542. Give us a buzz. Anything else on the healthcare industry that we haven't covered as far as like formulary and payment and treatment?
I think we've covered it pretty good. I think we've covered Fauci enough. I don't even know what else to say about that guy. I really think this insurance question is something that everybody just needs to keep talking about.
Yep.
And like you said earlier, we got to do something different than what we're doing. But what's the question? What's the answer? And I can see a system to where with these health savings accounts for small stuff. Your visits,
Yes.
your flus, your colds, all that stuff. Have an account that takes care of that, and then somehow create some sort of a pool for really big things.
Yeah.
And I think what would happen, that the formula that's hard to calculate, is if everybody was sort of paying their own way, they would have a tendency to do healthier things. So they're going to need less out of that big pool of big things. Because right now, too many people don't take care of their health, and then it costs a fortune to bail them out. As opposed to people kind of paying their own way and taking care of their own health problems, and then we don't have to bail them out as often.
Well, and we don't know what that balance is. We just know, I still say, as you mentioned, what the answers are, but you got to have the right question.
Yeah.
And no matter what we talk about when it comes to paying for healthcare costs, it's always who's going to pay for it. And if we just said, why does it cost so much? And we understand that you gave a great example about insurance companies requiring, in order to be approved for a surgery that everybody knows needs to happen, well, you got to go spend all this money, time, energy, effort, and 12 weeks of rehab that maybe you needed, maybe you didn't. I mean, you're going to have rehab after the surgery for sure. I've gone through surgery. But here's one thing when we talk about all that, I just want to remind folks of this statistic. And we talked about this Friday, cutting 11% of the total federal budget, 11%, could result in roughly 90% of federal income tax filers paying no federal income tax, okay? That would mean $785 billion total cut. All right, that's not a lot. When you're running at, let's see here, the federal government, just to write off some stats, $7 trillion we spent last year. Individual income taxes produced about $2.7 trillion. You would think it'd be more, but $2.7 trillion. So just cutting, just that top 10%, by the way, you keep them the same. Don't raise their taxes, of course. But just the top 10% pays 70.5% of all federal individual income taxes. So we cut $785 billion, we can make things happen. So if we could cut $785 billion to eliminate our tax liability, which will never happen because it'll take guts and common sense, and they have to align together. But if we could do that easily for that, because all that would do is just stop the deficit spending, okay? You would think we could take some of that money if we needed to bridge a gap. Don't you think we could afford to do so when I rattle out those numbers?
Yeah, I think we could, and I would be really interested to see what that comes out to.
Let's talk about that in the break. I wasn't watching the time. That's my fault. Sorry, guys. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, and welcome to hour number 2. And we are certainly appreciative to have you join us for this last hour. Doc, I want 2 more hours. I don't want 1 more hour. I want 2 more hours with the folks, man. Me and Parker and you having some good time. I got my dear friend, Dr. Kevin from Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic, but he's here just having fun with me today. Although we didn't plan it, but we had a lot of healthcare discussions earlier, so I'm glad you were in.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Man, guys, go visit my friends at Dino's, though. You can't go wrong. I remember begging Tim about a week ago, just keep the Poirier knockout pizza on the menu for 1 more month. And he's like, well, that's why it's the pizza of the month, then not the pizza of the months. And I was like, okay, fine. Pizza of the quarter? Nope. So anyway, go visit Dino's. 3 great locations, Bertrand, Collie Saloon, and in Henderson. Love it. All right, we have so much to talk about, guys, but let's dive right in. About 10 years ago, we had this little occurrence, and it was the flood, the Great Flood of 2016. 10 years ago, already 10 years ago. And when we put ourselves back 10 years ago, many of us can remember, probably all of us remember where we were when the flood came and what the aftermath was and all the discussions that were happening afterwards. And, it's real easy right now to look back 10 years ago, or real easy now to look back and maybe, this and that. But during that time, it took about 3 years for us to start doing some stuff, 4 years, because, you had to figure out the science. You had to figure out some studies. UL did a wonderful study of the whole region and identified a whole bunch of projects on there that would help the region. The Corps of Engineers has a ton of data and gathered some more data. Congressman Higgins, his office, if you may recall, right in early 2020, Congressman Higgins went to the Light Center here in with the university and did a wonderful presentation. Him and his office. A lot of folks from the Corps of Engineers were there talking about the Tesh Vermilion watershed and all what that happened. All these parishes that are in this, Lafayette, St. Martin, all these folks, okay? Iberia, I don't know if that's it a little bit. Vermilion Parish, St. Landry, maybe a little bit of the eastern part of Acadia Parish, western part more of the Mermentau, but anyway. So you got a lot of data that came along with it. And then you started to see some parishes, some, not all, but most parishes do things like projects and work together and all that stuff, And man, if you look back and you see the data that we had just 10 years ago available to us for whatever reason, and you look at the science and all the studies that have happened since then, you can see that there's still more work to be done, but there's been a significant improvement to the drainage system, clearly. I mean, we've seen that since a lot of these projects have gone along. But man, if you're sitting here and you are and you've gone through that, maybe you're still in the same house that you were in 10 years ago. What does that look like? I don't know. When we open up the phone lines, I'd love to hear from you, 232-1542. What does that look like? Does your neighborhood still look the same? Does your street still look the same? Are the roads that you travel, what do you think? Like as far as like drainage and stuff like that. Did flooding areas, the 2016 flood, are we still, what were you doing? Did your business, was it affected? Was your home affected? Were you affected? Did you move? A lot of people moved. A lot of people that, on the river, I said you moved too soon, but hey, yeah, it's easy for me to say when you were the one with 18 feet of water in your house. Yeah, real, I'm moving. I get it. A lot of programs to lift houses have happened. Were you one of the houses? Were you one of the folks out there that you took you took advantage of those programs or you went through it? Love to hear from you, but. Yeah, 2016 floods. It wasn't just Lafayette and those parishes. It was our friends in Livingston and Baton Rouge, too. They got hit pretty hard. I mean, everybody remembers this. What do you remember from it, Doc?
Yeah, I was at the time, I was between purchasing a home or selling a home and purchasing another one. So we were I was staying in a little brick rent house by Southside High School down there in that kind of low spot.
Yeah.
And I remember the water came up to the stop sign and it got to about an inch from going in my house.
Oh, gosh.
The number one thing I remember from that, though, is I kind of got trapped away from my house. I had a brand new Super Duty.
Oh, wow.
And I remember I was thinking, oh, I can make it through here. And I remember the water was almost to the top of the headlights on my new Super Duty. And I remember being so mad that it was going to, and it did not.
It didn't go in?
It went, no. Like it came in the floorboard, but it did not go in the engine. And I was so impressed by that. I said, I cannot believe this did not ruin my new truck.
Wonder if there's some, what are they, waterproof it or something?
I don't know, but I thought for sure.
You got like an extended snorkeler on that thing?
I didn't have a I didn't have that one snorkeled, but I remember thinking I cannot make it, but I didn't have a choice. I was in it.
Yeah. You were committed.
I was committed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was just, you kind of like banked the way. Like, okay, I have enough water momentum to just kind of walk with me like almost like a bubble, but I can't go too fast.
I thought for sure I was going to hydrolock my new Super Duty, but it made it through it, and I'll never forget that. That was like it was yesterday. I mean, I'd had it a few weeks, and made it through it. But the house turned out okay, but some of my neighbors further down the street, I mean, it got halfway up their wall.
A lot of people halfway up their wall, and when you get a little bit of water damage, well, you gotta, oh my gosh, insulation. Yeah, it gets in that, it'll travel up that wall quickly. How many of us were ripping out sheetrock 10 years ago? A lot of us. You really want to see the beauty of our community. And you can say that with a lot of communities across the United States. And that's why local governments are always the most efficient governments, because we go through things together, no matter what your political ideology is, we pretty much all want the same thing for the most part, But you really want to see the heart of Acadiana. You really want to see folks coming together. That was the 2016 floods. Mm-hmm. My wife and I were fortunate. We almost I had to stay in my office because I could. Wise wife that I had calling me from Youngsville at the time where I lived. You need to get to this house because I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to go down Verrot. Whatever. That was before the improvements. Mm-hmm. Whatever. I'll be there later. I got work to do. So anyway, she was right. I was wrong. I spent 3 days in my office. Now, let me tell you something. I was not backed up after that. I had every memo done. I had every email. I was the most caught up I've ever been. I was stuck in my office. But a lot of folks were in that situation, and going and building on that camaraderie, that community spirit, that helping your neighbor. So many folks were out there. Most people weren't directly impacted by the 2016 floods, but almost everybody was indirectly impacted. All of us knew someone that was flooded out, or their businesses were messed up. Somebody that was displaced. There might be some people, I doubt it 10 years later, but I remember being in office and still having folks that were displaced, that was 2020, so still having folks trying to find their way back home, and us encouraging, us being the community, welcoming that, getting back to normalcy. So that and if you look at even the politics of it, it should never have any politics with a natural disaster, but following that. And I'm talking about the good politics, like why people run. Take the mayor-president's race. Everybody had 5 candidates, five great folks, all right, all running on the same thing. Drainage. Every parish president in the region was with their mouth saying that they want to help drainage. Most of them did, so it's and look how much money we've spent as a region addressing flood mitigation and drainage and communication. So a lot of stuff, a lot of advancements. I'd love to be able to talk about it. Maybe we can. We'll open up the phone lines. When we get back, we'll finish this topic and so much more. Take us a little break, Park. We'll be right back.
some of those things, you can prevent it once, and it saves a lot of people's heartache. So, my business fortunately, I didn't get too much water in my house at the time, but definitely the business flooded.
Yeah, I was looking, according to KATC, an estimated 300,000 people were displaced and roughly 146,000 homes were destroyed. But the key statistic I see from that is there were only 13 fatalities reported across the whole thing. So with 146,000 homes destroyed, our rescue teams must have been pretty on top of it.
You ain't kidding. That's and welcome back. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, audience. That is such a good point, man. Shout out to all of our first responders, not just a cookie cut, check the box. Like, man, I look back. That is something we didn't talk about. All those search and rescue folks, man. Thanks to all of our sheriff's deputy, wildlife and fishery, state police, local police departments, local deputies across the state. Anybody else I'm missing? EMS, utilities. Don't forget those guys. Just all in communication, and having sat in the seat in the EOC, that changed by the way, but having sat in there, kind of juggling all the things and people communicating. Know how much organized chaos that can be. And for those folks to get out there in the high water, not knowing what wildlife is there, what electricity is hot, and to get that many people that were displaced and have the fatality rate at what it was or is amazing. So shout out to all of our first responders there. Now that's still you said 13. I mean, it's still 13 families that will never see their loved one again. So we can't downplay that for sure. But wow, how many people displaced?
300,000 people displaced, 146,000 homes destroyed.
That's crazy, man. 146,000 homes. And if you look in just Acadiana alone, that's a lot of homes. It's not just the river. The river is, I mean, clearly, we're talking about Youngsville. We're talking about other areas. We're talking about, I'm sure New Iberia and you just go along the line. And this is just, and by the way, the 2016 floods, I don't care how much drainage you put in, it will be hard to combat and prevent flooding in a 1,000-year flood. Depending on where you live in this area, this storm was considered, for the most part, anywhere from a 500 to a 1,000-year flood. That means a storm. That means we should only get one of those things every 500 to 1,000 years. So now I'm not a mathematician. But the law of averages, I don't think any one of us we shouldn't see by those numbers any one of those storms again. Now, as I was reminded by engineers a lot, okay, every drainage project has legal and engineers on it, as it should. But regardless, as I was reminded over and over and over again, well, these 10-year floods are starting to become more common. Maybe that's the technology keeping up. Maybe the rain systems are changing. Maybe the weather patterns are changing. It's Mother Nature has done that over the millennia. Did you know that, Doc?
I did.
We had global warming before this phenomenon.
Yeah.
Phenomenon.
Before that, we had the hole in the ozone. Remember that?
Oh my gosh, I talked about that. Okay, was that real?
I don't know.
I mean, like, really, I'm telling you, I spent a lot of time in school talking about the ozone layer.
Right.
I mean, I'm a little younger, but we had Captain Planet.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know about Captain Planet.
Mm-mm.
Captain Planet, he's our hero. He will bring pollution down to zero.
Oh, is that what it was?
I remember it. And when you put all their forces together with those little rings, they form Captain Planet.
Oh.
Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Who knows? Who remembers Captain Planet? He was there for a couple of years. His ratings weren't that high, I guess. It was only me and my friend in the neighborhood watching. His ratings were 2 out of Alexandria. He had 2 people, me and Eric. We were the only ones watching it.
No, I'm of the era we had duck and cover, where the nuclear duck and cover. Y'all had that too?
I had that too. Yeah. I was little though. I was little.
Run in a hall and put a book on your head, like that's going to help from a nuclear explosion.
And go put your head towards the blast.
Right.
That was good. In the military. We always loved that too. We had during basic training, and the instructors were almost like laughing. Like, yeah, when you see the blast, and you put your Kevlar helmet right in this direction, right here. I'm like, if I'm putting that Kevlar helmet in any direction where I can see the blast, it's probably not good.
We have larger problems.
Much larger problems than that. But man, going back to the floods, or the 2016 flood, man, that we shouldn't see that again. So a lot of the drainage projects that happened wherever you're at, wherever you're listening or watching this broadcast, if you were in the flood areas, those particular parishes. A lot of times your leaders, I know when we would do drainage projects, we always looked at like the 100-year flood. I figured that covered everybody's lifetime. If we were focusing on 100-year. And a lot of, I know a lot of areas after 2016 changed their development rules, changed their regulations, how they approach projects and how they approve projects. So a lot of that happened immediately right after 2016. You saw that happen in Lafayette. You've seen that happen with other areas, other councils, other parishes, other cities even. All 6 municipalities in the parish of Lafayette made some changes. So I can only imagine that was probably the case in every single parish or city that had flooding. So that's kind of your first part. You got to have to see, well, all right, where are we at? Where do we want to be? And how are we going to get there? Well, where we're at in a lot of those places in 2016, the development codes were only looking at 5-year floods, 10-year floods. Okay, not the technology of the day and the demands of the day. That is what the consensus of being okay was. That was all right. If we weren't expecting a 1,000-year flood or a 500-year. And I say we as a community. I wasn't in office in 2016. But the folks that were in, that's the kind of stuff that they had available to them, and it was reasonable to have that available to them under the circumstances. Now, looking back, yeah, we could have easily said, well, I wouldn't have put that neighborhood right there, or I wouldn't have approved that. That's real easy to say, but I mean, when you have the technology when you're treating clients, patients, Doc, the technology you have in 2016 probably looks different than when you first started functional wellness.
Way different. Yeah, way different. And I totally get that. And, I know absolutely nothing about the intricacies of city drainage, but, from a layperson, the thought does cross your mind that, they put a subdivision here, then they put one across the street, they put one down the street, they put one, and with nobody really looking at, well, where's all this water going to go? And I don't even know if that's true or not, but that always, as just someone who knows nothing about it, it has to cross your mind. Like, well, is that part of the problem? Is, we stick subdivisions everywhere without anybody coordinating where's all this water going to go?
That is a great question, a great concern, and a lot of people still have that. I give you a great lawyer answer. It depends.
Yeah.
It does depend on your jurisdiction. So I know Lafayette Consolidated Government's rules under the Lafayette Development Code. I do know that if you see development, don't have any fear, your drainage is actually getting better because the permits require you to leave that footprint with a better, I'm summarizing it, but with a better drainage or drainage capacity than when you had it before you developed it. So it's actually better than just the field you just saw. Mm-hmm. So, but that's new rules. And that's some of the rules that came after the 2016 flood. So you probably see that in other places, not just LCG, not just that. And also the 5 municipalities outside of Lafayette in our parish, all of them went to work. All of them looked at their development. All of them looked at their drainage. And that's why you see, man, I was out there with Mayor Richard and Scott in 2019, that's just after the floods, just a couple years, and there was a storm coming through. I forgot which one it was. It was a named storm. And he was taking me, this is just Josh and Jan, this was before I was in office. I was just hanging out with him. And he was so kind to take me around and teach me and stuff like that. And I know there's been more the projects than since 2019. So I'm telling everybody this, that you got some leaders on ground that are still there, that were there at the time, that can tell you about this stuff, and you should go talk to them. You should go talk to your mayors and your council members. I'm telling you, I know most of these guys, and there's a lot of work that went in there. They will talk your ears off for how much drainage, and you should. So we're gonna take us a tiny little break. When we get back, we'll cause us a little more trouble. Don't go anywhere, Doc. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the Cape Bell Studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. I was feeling that one, Doc.
It was awesome.
I was feeling that one.
Yeah.
Journey. All right. Guys, I got my friend Dr. Kevin over here. Hey, go visit my other friends at Giles Volvo. Giles Volvo here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Look, luxury vehicle right in our backyard at affordable prices. And you know those 27 models are coming in, and you know what that means for the 26 models. Go check them out at Giles Volvo. Just go visit them. They will point you in the right direction. They will, if you're like, hey, you know, I'm looking at a long-term plan, they'll work with you. Or maybe you're feeling something that maybe you're feeling a little adventurous or whatnot. Just go check them out. Giles Volvo. The good thing about it is they're not pushy, so they're just going to tell you, you know, the things that you need to hear with honesty and truth, and they'll work with you. Go visit them. Giles Volvo.
I actually looked in a time and forever. It's beautiful on the inside.
And it's, you know what, this is what someone had described it to me. It's all the gadgets and gizmos, like you got a lot of cool stuff in there, but it's easy to use.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like we were just talking about, technology is great when you can use it.
Right.
I have to give props to the engineers or whoever built the Volvo, because you got all the bells and whistles, but you know, if you're not like techie, it's still really easy to use. So anyway, Giles Volvo, go check them out. Yeah, let's wrap a bow on the 2016 flood, guys. There's a lot of things that have gone on since then. We also have SpaceX I want to talk about, SpaceX in Louisiana. Man, we got some cool things going on, and I mean like big things. Big things, and looking to get maybe the governor will come join us. I know he's busy, but I'd love to talk more about SpaceX. I'd love to talk more about these AI data centers. It seems like we have some big things happening in Louisiana. Not sure the AI data centers. We have a lot of there's a lot of concerns. I've heard I've seen some videos with like loud noise, and then there's some concerns about water infiltration and all the things that you should probably ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. No, nothing wrong with asking those. So, but we also can't let fear unjustly prevent us moving into the future and continuing to diversify our economy. And we can do that without turning our back on oil and gas. And that's what I hope we continue to see, and I think we will. Anything else, guys or gals? And by the way, phone lines are open, 232-1542, 844-766-6607. Y'all want to talk about drainage? You want to talk about some stuff that's happened since 2016? I'll tell you what I know. I'll tell you if I don't know it. And chances are there's some things I know. Chances are there's some things I don't know, and that's why I have Kevin right here. You're a doctor.
I'm all for diversifying our economy. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, Louisiana should just be one of the wealthiest states. I mean, you know, we have ports, we have oil and gas, we have so many different things that we really should be one of the most successful states out there. And you know, just this SpaceX thing, they're talking about 24,000 jobs.
Now, where is it looking to go? Can you highlight? Did we have that in the report? You know, Park. Where's the SpaceX? Where are we looking at going? Is that across the state?
It says right here they're looking at putting it about 45 miles southwest of Lafayette in the marshlands.
Pecan Island.
Yeah.
Pecan Island. Hey,
Yeah.
Pecan. Come on, Pecan Island. We cover you down there. Talk to us. What y'all think about all this?
Yeah, and I tell you, the thing I think the most.
Hold on. Now, you talking about launching stuff into the air out of Pecan Island? Did they know we're
Yes.
Cajun, right?
Yes.
They know we have firearms, right? And they know if it flies, it dies in certain times of the year. They know this? They got to give a warning.
Right.
Almost
Especially
like
down there.
Almost like water boil advisory. Almost like, do not shoot the big rocket. This is not an alert. This is not a warning. This is not a drill. Don't shoot it.
Right.
And you can't eat it.
They're talking about launching multiple per day.
Wait, from that?
Multiple every 2 to 3 hours.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Right.
From right here?
Right.
Oh, what do they launch? Like resupply to the International Space Station or something?
They're putting he's sending starships to orbit to make a data center in
In space.
Space.
Yeah. That's wild. And I have so many questions on that with why in space. Is it environmentally, like, is it an environmental thing? Do you avoid some of the environmental pollutions if
Yeah,
you build in state out of space?
One of the cool things I saw about the data center in space is you can get sun 24 hours a day.
Makes sense.
Right, because the sun, he can position it to where the solar panels work all the time. So you don't need batteries because the solar can run, whereas normally solar, you have to charge the batteries because it's nighttime.
Man, and the storage of the batteries
Right.
your power's less, as I understand it, towards obviously right before dawn, because you're using all of it and your capacity.
Just park it in the sun and let it run. Let it
Literally,
run, baby.
Like literally, that is amazing. Let's take this caller. They probably have all the answers. Let's see here, caller. You're live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, my dear friend. What you got?
I think Elon Musk is the smartest man walking the earth. But here's the question. Where are 24,000 people going to live? In a duck blind?
Wait, so the 24,000, talk to me about this. Oh, that's the 24,000 jobs. Oh, okay. Yeah, in Pecan Island. Now I get what you're saying. Yeah, where are they going to live? Well, they have, maybe it would be some, that is a priceless call. I just put it together. Yeah, maybe we'll have a bunch of duck blinds. You got 4 per duck blind, and 12 gauges are optional. 20 gauges optional. No? We'll see. But I know this. When you're looking at the economy of Louisiana, that was a great call. When you're looking at the economy of Louisiana and you see, we still have our bread and butter. It is somehow, I don't know, is oil and gas still our bread and butter? Bread and butter. I do like, I like our movements in the legislature. A few years back, about 2 years ago, lowering severance tax. That was good to make us competitive. Our legal lawsuit, or our lawsuit climate, our legal climate seems, it seems like we're making some steps towards making it a little bit more stable and predictable, which makes it easier from a business standpoint. But let's go to the phone lines again. All right.
Before we do that, I may have misspoke on the. So so when SpaceX went to Brownsville, Texas, it generated more than $13 billion in economic output and roughly 24,000 jobs within 5 years. So that was in Brownsville.
Okay.
I misspoke on the 24,000 jobs.
Now,
I should have read better.
That's okay, Doc. It's a lot of jobs, but I did hear it's a very impactful. Also, on the homes that we reported in 2016, that was damaged or destroyed, not just destroyed. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, you're live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike Trahan, Erath, Louisiana.
What's up, Mike? I love Erath, Highway 14. What you got, baby?
It's okay. I may be right and I may be wrong, but from what I understand, the data centers need so much cooling that that's why they're putting them in space. It's because to keep them cool. It's almost, it would be very costly to have huge data centers on land.
Oh, without a doubt. And it just goes to show you how much cost saving. Hey, think about this, Mike and Doc. It's so much cost savings that they're willing to spend so much money to ship all that stuff up outer space. Like, that's how much cost savings it is, because that ain't cheap to do that. Hey, great call. Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
No doubt, and I may be wrong, but it kind of makes sense. Just if you feel the heat coming out of a laptop or a desktop or anything, but he does it. He's got his little satellite system, Starlink, and he's rolling. Hey, thanks for taking my call, and y'all have a good day.
Well, thanks for calling in. Always, our callers always add the value. Thanks for carrying the show. We'll take a little break. When we get back, we'll wrap a bow on this and so much more. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We're not dancing in the dark. We're dancing in the light. That's what I'm saying. All right, guys. Hey, by the way, go visit my friends over there at Préjean's. You can't go wrong. By the way, always gumbo weather. Did you know that? Always gumbo weather at Préjean's. Go visit them. 2 locations. You got the classic location off of I-49, and of course the new location in Broussard off of Morgan, right off the highway, and all the way. Also, Doc, I don't know if you deal with home health a lot. Do you ever deal with any patients or clients with home health?
No.
That's
No.
a different phase, different type. But, you go in, we talked about surgery, at least off there, on air, I can't remember. We talk about recovery and PT and all this stuff. Well, it's a little bit more intense than PT. So you recover, well, you could be recovering from the hospital or you could be recovering from your home. So you got places like Audubon Home Health. Go check them out. You're going to be recovering from the procedure anyway. And if you're eligible, why not go recover from the comfort of your own home? Maintain that dignity. Maintain your ease of life. Call my friends. Literally, my friend Solange, you just heard her voice on the commercial there. Audubon Home Health. I know these guys and gals firsthand, and I want you to give them a call. All right, let's talk a little bit more about SpaceX. You two gentlemen got my mind blown here. We were talking about some stuff in the break that we won't even have enough time to cover all this. Park, go ahead.
Yeah, so what people are worried about is, and according to Politico, each launch, so they want to launch it doesn't give an exact hour, but it says every few hours. Every launch will take approximately 180,000 to 358,000 gallons of fresh water, and it can't use salt water.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It can't use salt water.
The salt water will rust the rocket, the metal in the rocket.
What's your thoughts over there?
Well, we were talking about that on the break. You know, I trust Elon would figure that out, but that's a lot of water and rocket fuel mixed together to do something with. You know, I can't imagine that they would just dump that back in the marsh.
So it says a massive portion of the water instantly vaporizes from the rocket's heat. Approximately 30,000 gallons per launch will be remaining infused with rocket fuel and all that metals.
Yeah.
In the launch site.
So after
and then
launch,
it discharges into the marshes?
So yeah, it says the remaining 30,000 gallons approximately that wasn't vaporized will go into the coastal marshlands of Pecan Island. The rest will drain directly into adjacent mudflats.
Wow.
So if a lot of the water vaporizes, and I'm not a water scientist, but just using common sense here, if that water vaporizes, that water doesn't actually get wasted because it's going to come back as rain, right?
Yeah.
So we
Miss
get
Murphy taught me that in first grade.
Right. We get that water back, and it's going to fall back as rain,
Yeah.
so we're not actually losing that water. Elon's going to have to figure out what to do with all that wastewater and rocket fuel and debris mixed together. I tell you this, though, the whole thing about SpaceX coming is to I think we'll be able to see the launches from here.
That's
How
amazing.
cool would that
Really?
be? Yeah.
That is so cool.
I would think we'd be able to see them. Now, we say it would look cool, and the first few definitely would be cool. But if they're launching one every few hours, I think it's kind of like living by the airport. It's fun watching the planes the first day.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, got another airplane.
Oh man, I live close to the airport. You're right. And those shows when they come in, we get a free show.
Right.
Free look at them for free. But anyway, no, you asked a great question off air too. Is Louisiana, as we only have like a minute left, is Louisiana, are we just like the testing ground? Or they just,
Yeah,
using us?
Are
Because
we
this sounds a lot like the legacy suits back in the day where the state said, yeah, come on down, and then we have trouble later. But look, I'm not mad. I'm with you. I think Elon's figuring this out.
Yeah, I think he'll figure it out. Yeah, I wondered to myself, like, is Louisiana really getting these data centers and these rockets because we're getting successful? Or are we just the dumping ground?
Are we the only ones that said, we'll do it?
Right. Which
Send
one
it
is
on
it?
down.
Yeah.
Hey, but this is exciting, man. I think this is going to be really good. Very good concerns that we have about the AI data centers, about SpaceX. But we just, look, a lot of folks have put a lot of thought into this. I think the answers will still come. If you seek the answers, they're out there. The questions will continue to go. I really appreciate the leadership in the state. I really do. You know, Governor Landry, to the legislature, to the local leaders that are pushing for this stuff, trying to move our state forward. This is how you diversify an economy. So I really think there's a lot of kudos, a lot more positive than negative, but we definitely have to ask those questions and get those answers, guys. Thank y'all so much. Doc, thanks for being here.
Oh, I had a blast. Thanks
Guys,
for having me.
Be careful out there. May God bless you and be kind.